You might relate to music theory as being able to read music, for example. And that is just not a skill that most guitar players that I revere actually have. They actually can't read traditional notes on a page with a treble clef and a bass clef. Or if they do, they only have a very, very basic knowledge of it, like real beginner stuff. So what is the music theory you need to know to move forward? First of all, nice and easy, chord progression. A chord progression is a sequence of chords that tends to get repeated. That might be a sequence of just 2 chords, 3 or 4 chords. For example, a typical chord progression might be C, F, and G major. What we also want to be aware of is we can refer to those chord progressions also in Roman numerals. The 1, the 4, and the 5. The 1, the 4, and the 5. And when chords are written as Roman numerals, or referred to as the 1, 4, and 5, that's referring to the root notes of those chords and how they correspond with the major scale. This is referred to diatonic chords, so chords from the key or the tonic, and also the Nashville number system is how these chord progressions get done. And the two that you should definitely have really fresh in your mind is C, F, and G are the 1, 4, and 5 in the key of C major, and G major, C major, and D major are the 1, 4, and 5 in the key of G. Referring to notes as numbers not only happens with chords, it happens to major scale notes and indeed any notes, and that is referring to something called intervals. An interval in all music always refers to the distance between one note and another note in pitch. How far is that distance between here and here, or here and here? And we can put a number on that, which tends to refer to the major scale, or indeed any other intervals. To refer that to our 1, 4, and 5, 1, 4, and 5, we have a C note, which is our 1, 3rd fret of string 5. We have the F note directly below that, which is a perfect 4th away, and then the G note, which is a perfect 5th away from the first note from the tonic. Now, I've perhaps used a new word there for many of you, and that's our 3rd term in this list, which is tonic. What does tonic mean? Tonic refers to the first note of a scale, or in fact the key of a song, what's sometimes known as the home key or home chord. For example, 1, 4, and 5, C, F, and G. C major is the tonic, and C is the tonic of the C major chord. Being aware of a tonic helps us identify the key of a song and helps us know the name of our scales. But what are scales? Number 4, what is a scale? A scale is just a sequence of notes which varies in how many notes that is. Pentatonic is 5 notes. Major and minor scales all use 7 notes. The 8th note being the octave of the tonic, the octave of the first note of that scale. And when we're practicing scales, they're basically going alphabetical order, like the ABC. We play them ascending from the tonic to the octave of that tonic, sometimes even higher than that in one position. And we have a whole video dedicated to all the scales that you should know a little later in this module. But let's move on to the next one, key signatures. I've mentioned things like the key of C major, or the key of G major, or the key of E minor in this course. But what does that actually mean from a dictionary definition point of view? It actually means what are the amount of sharps or flats in that song, or in that major or minor scale, or that occur typically in the chords that happen in that song, the diatonic chords as we call them. Now, knowing key signatures is really an intermediate to advanced thing on guitar, but being aware of musical keys like the key of C major, and knowing that C major has no sharps or flats because the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, there's no sharps or flats there, is the starting point. And the other keys, for example, G major, that one has 1 sharp when we actually look at the notes that are used, and it's this one, it's an F sharp. That might sound advanced, but just being aware of that is a huge leap forward for many people, and that will stand you in good stead for intermediate. Even just being aware that the key of C major has no sharps or flats is perfect as a beginner. Key signatures should not be confused with time signatures. Time signatures are where we have two numbers, usually 4/4, that dictate how many beats we have in a bar, that's the top number, and then how long those beats actually last for in time, that's the bottom number. For example, if we have 4 quarter notes, that is what 4/4 time means. Like a quarter is 1/4. That just means that we're splitting a bar into 4 when we have 4/4 as a time signature. And that allows us to understand the compound time signatures that exist, even at beginner level, including 6/8 and 12/8, which both have a waltz feel or divide every main pulse into 3. We have this 3/4 time. But beginner songs on acoustic always tend to be in 6/8, which we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 12/8, which gives us a little bit more flexibility feel-wise than 6/8. And we tend to count 12/8, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. But the other reason songs might be in 6/8 or 12/8 is when the chord progression changes. How long does each chord last for? If it typically lasts for 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a change chord, probably in 12/8. And if it changes every 6 main pulses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 change chord, for example, Hallelujah, the Leonard Cohen song, and any covers by Jeff Buckley or anyone else, that chord progression changes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. It changes on that main pulse of 1 every 6 notes. So that's typically known as 6/8. Watch the second half of this video 100% for free at andyguitar.co.uk. The link is on screen now and in the description, where you'll also find the link to my full new beginners course, new for 2025. Check it out and I'll see you over there.